If you want to get into the UFC and this is where you want to be, act like Joe Pyfer, okay?
He knocks fellow competitors unconscious with a record-breaking punching power of 129,000 units, something never before seen in middleweight division history. Whenever someone steps into the cage with Joe Pyfer, they quite literally put their lives on the line, and 9 of his 16 opponents have learned that firsthand. But this hard-hitting American isn't just a wrecking machine. He also possesses a solid BJJ arsenal, which he showcased in grappling victories over top talents like Willey and Gerald Meerschaert. Charging in guns blazing without a bulletproof vest or helmet, Bodybagz has earned 3 Performance of the Night bonuses across his 4 UFC wins. A clear sign he's not here to take any prisoners. As he gears up for another showdown and continues his speed run toward the middleweight top 5, let's revisit every time Joe Pyfer came dangerously close to committing homicide inside the MMA cage. Raised in Pittsgrove Township, New Jersey, Joe Pyfer attended Arthur P. Shalleck High School, where he joined the wrestling team in 10th grade and began applying his jiu-jitsu and judo skills he had learned as a child. When he combined his BJJ and judo background with his nuclear-fused fists, Bodybagz transformed into a lethal assassin that was almost impossible to stop. At one point, he came dangerously close to homelessness and was ready to give up his MMA dream for a more lucrative path, but an unexpected turn of fate kept him on course. Before we reveal who saved Pfeiffer and what convinced him to continue his journey in MMA, let's rewind a decade to where it all began. Joe Pyfer first stepped into an MMA cage when he was only 20, on November 18, 2016. The unlucky Chris Allen had no idea he was facing a different kind of animal this time, a genetic freak who would later break Francis Ngannou's record for the most powerful punch. Bodybagz needed no more than 17 seconds to deliver a one-hitter quitter that sent the opponent straight to La La Land.
Throw that inside leg kick again.
Oh my God! Holy mackerel! Whoa!
No follow-up was needed. Allen's fuse box switches tripped all at once. The following year, Pfeiffer had the rare opportunity to show everyone that he is a complete package with a decent grappling toolbox. He faced off against Rashawn Day, who was muscled down to the floor with ease. The American used the momentum, took the bull by the horns and put the hooks in, and cut off the oxygen supply. With this victory, Joe sent a very clear message. No opponent is safe, no matter where the fight goes.
He tapped! He tapped! He tapped!
No, just fight. I told you to fight. Tapped a while ago. Unfortunately, the referee wasn't in the situation to see it, but
To the rear naked choke.
The hard-hitting American won his next 2 amateur fights by brutal knockouts and was ready to make his debut as a professional. Bodybagz started his pro career on May 18, 2018 against Stephen Covington. He charged forward from the moment go and issued an infamous airline ticket. He turned on the ground and pound shredder and delivered some razor-sharp elbows from the top. After torturing him on the ground for some time, Joe decided to let his enemy up, and then gladly served him an extra meal. This time, Pfeiffer secured a full mount position, and once his ballistic missiles started landing, it was GG. Well played. Over the next 2 years, Bodybagz unleashed hell, seeing 7 antagonists through the looking glass and picking up the AOWCF and ROC middleweight titles along the way. Joe Pyfer's name started buzzing louder than the local circuit could handle. By 2020, he was too big to ignore and caught the attention of UFC president Dana White, who invited the KO artist to showcase his talents on Dana White's Contender Series 28. On August 11, 2020, Pfeiffer made his big league debut against Dustin Stoltzfus, a 12-1 luta livre black belt. Stoltzfus came prepared, aiming to smother Pfeiffer's power with a wrestling-heavy strategy. But fate had other plans. During a powerful takedown, Pfeiffer's arm snapped horribly out of place, forcing a heartbreaking end to his night. It was a brutal reminder. MMA doesn't care how much heart you have. One wrong move and everything can change. At that moment, it looked like Joe's dream might be shattered for good. But Bodybagz was never built to fold. After more than a year on the sidelines, Pfeiffer returned at CFFC 104, stepping into the cage against Austin Trotman. Some doubted whether his power would survive the injury. Pfeiffer answered in 17 seconds flat, detonating a one-shot knockout and flipping the whole narrative on its head. Opportunity knocked again on July 26, 2022, when he got a second chance at Dana White's Contender Series 47. Across the cage stood Osman Diaz, a 7-1 knockout artist with heavy hands of his own. This time, Pfeiffer left nothing to chance. No injuries, no bad luck, just a ruthless second-round KO that left Diaz sprawled and sealed Joe's golden ticket to the UFC. For most fighters, earning a UFC contract is a dream come true. For Joe Pyfer, it was bittersweet. Behind the scenes, he was battling something even tougher than opponents: homelessness. He was days away from losing everything. Dana White saw the struggle and stepped in, personally covering a full year of Joe's rent, giving him the breathing room to stay focused, stay ready, and chase the greatness he was destined for. And when you bet on Bodybagz, you win big. On September 17, 2022, the heavy puncher was welcomed to the big league by Alen Amedovski, a dangerous slugger with a 100% finishing rate. There was a time when Amedovski was an undefeated prospect with an incredible 8-0 record, 2 of which were won in the Bellator cage. But since stepping into the UFC, he has been less creative than his hairdresser. Pfeiffer put the exclamation mark on the fight.
Oh, that's it. Down and out.
With such a knockout that would haunt the Macedonian for the rest of his life. Joe's UFC debut went splendidly. Not only did he show everyone that his striking is as deadly as a .44 Magnum shot, but he won his first Performance of the Night bonus. And with that 50 G's, he won't need to worry about paying his rent in the next few years. Next on Joe Pyfer's hit list was none other than Gerald Meerschaert, a seasoned BJJ black belt and submission wizard whose ground game had been a death trap for countless opponents. While most casual fans know Meerschaert for his infamous one-punch KO to Khamzat Chimaev, what many overlook is that he's a certified killer in his own right. Gerald holds the record for the most finishes in UFC middleweight history with 12, a stat that speaks volumes. Of his 37 career victories, only 2 men have made it to the final bell. When Gerald steps into the cage, he's not there to score points. He's there to end you. But when he met Joe Pyfer, all that experience and black belt prestige meant nothing. It was like bringing a knife to a gunfight. 3 minutes into the first round, Bodybagz unloaded a violent shipment of bombs that left the referee no choice but to step in and wave it off.
And it all came off that left hook.
Up next was Abdul Razak Al-Hassan, a terrifying power puncher and judo black belt. Trading hands with Al-Hassan is the MMA version of Russian roulette. Every shot he throws could shut the lights out. Fighters like Seba Homasi, Nico Price, and the iron-chinned Alessio Di Chirico all found that out the hard way. Rather than get dragged into a coin flip brawl, Pfeiffer showed his growing fight IQ. He changed gears, took Al-Hassan down with authority, quickly secured a dominant position, and put him to sleep via submission. With that win, Joe not only banked his second Performance of the Night bonus, but also made a powerful statement. It doesn't matter where the fight goes. If you step into the cage with Bodybagz, you're in danger everywhere. But even the sharpest meteors sometimes catch turbulence. In his next bout, Joe ran into the veteran Jack Hermansson. Hermansson's slick grappling, crafty movement, and deep UFC experience proved to be too much, handing Pfeiffer a tough, unanimous decision loss. It was the first real stumble of Joe's UFC journey, but also a priceless lesson that sharpened his resolve. True to his nature, Pfeiffer didn't sit around feeling sorry for himself. He went right back to work. On June 29, 2024, Joe returned to the octagon, ready to bounce back against Canadian brawler Marc-Andre Barriault. Barriault was coming off a razor-close split decision loss to Chris Curtis and was hungry to right the ship. Instead, he became just another name on Pfeiffer's growing list of highlight reel victims. Viciously knocked out in the first round, face down on the canvas in brutal fashion. This flawless display earned Joe his third Performance of the Night bonus, and judging by the path he's on, it's almost guaranteed that many more are coming. Joe Pyfer's journey is one of the most inspiring stories in MMA, a testament that no matter how hard life hits, you never back down from your dreams. From the brink of homelessness to becoming one of the UFC's most feared knockout artists, Bodybagz is building a loyal army of fans who know one thing for sure: when Joe steps into the cage, fireworks are guaranteed. Armed with nuclear power in his fists, slick grappling, and sneaky submissions, Pfeiffer is a nightmare matchup for anyone. Even elite names like Khamzat Chimaev and Dricus du Plessis would have to think twice before facing him. But one question still lingers in the air. Does Joe Pyfer have what it takes to climb that unforgiving mountain and seize the UFC middleweight crown? Only time will tell. Until then, all we can do is sit back, buckle up, and enjoy the chaos, one devastating knockout at a time. If you enjoyed the video, front kick that like button, subscribe to the channel, and join the Dialed In MMA Club today.